evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1 live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Jadaddin.
And I'm Onel Kamarathunga. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
₹120 million advance pay for Harakata release. Vijay Dasa's son Rohitha, SJB organizer Charit among 3 arrested by Siapok. Sachiv Premadasa says decision on Charita Singha after disciplinary inquiry. Rohitha Rajapaksa under probe over source of business investments. Namal Rajapaksa claims government engaged in political witch hunt. President warns threats will not halt investigations into crimes against citizens.
And on to your stories in detail. The Colombo Chief Magistrates Court ordered that Rohitha Rajapaksa, the son of former Minister Vijay Rajapaksa, Samagijana Balavegya, Horana organizer Charit Abesingha and Varusha Hannadige Arunashri Taturanga, a former director of Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka, be remanded in custody until July 3rd.
They were arrested this morning by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption in connection with allegations that a bribe of ₹120 million was accepted to secure the remanding of organized crime figure Nadun Chinteka, also known as Harak Kata, instead of being held under detention orders.
Who are the arrested individuals? Attorney-at-Law Rohitha Rajapaksa, son of former Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister, President's Counsel Dr. Vijay Rajapaksa. Charit Abesingha, Samagijana Balavegya organizer of the Horana electorate. Varusha Hannadige Arunashri Taturanga, a former director of Airport and Aviation Services Limited. What is the allegation? It is alleged that ₹500 million was demanded as a bribe, claiming the ability to intervene in matters related to organized crime figure and large-scale drug trafficker Nadun Chinteka, also known as Harak Kata, who was being held under detention orders by the Criminal Investigation Department. The suspects allegedly claimed they could prevent him from being killed in police custody, arrange for the removal of his detention orders, facilitate his transfer from the high-security Booster prison in Gaul to another prison, and secure his release from ongoing investigations and related proceedings. ₹120 million was obtained from this amount. Investigations have revealed that in 2023, while in Dubai, a demand of ₹500 million was made from Harak Kata's wife, Madhushika Madhuvanti, which was later reduced to ₹200 million, with ₹120 million taken as an advance payment. Following a prolonged investigation initiated based on an anonymous complaint received by the Bribery Commission on the 4th March last year, the 3 suspects were arrested. The suspects, who were arrested at 3 different locations, were subsequently brought to the Bribery Commission, where statements were recorded and preliminary procedures required for court proceedings were carried out.
At the hearing, Attorney-at-Law Anil De Silva, appearing for Rohitha Rajapaksa, told court that his client is severely suffering from sleep apnea, a condition that causes breathing interruptions during sleep. Counsel appearing for Charit Abesingha informed court that he is a heart patient who has already undergone the placement of 3 stents and requires 5 additional stents. He further stated that unfortunately the second suspect, Charit Abesingha, has developed almost all ailments commonly associated with the person aged around 60.
As investigations into the arrested suspects continue, President Andrakumara Dissanayaka addressed Parliament. He spoke to clarify the government's stance on eradicating narcotics and combating organised crime. During his address, the President also commented on the incident.
Money is being taken to kill individuals without producing them before courts. Money is being taken with promises of protection from death. Remember, there are no party divisions in this. These details are now coming to light. People will begin to understand what has been happening. Pay us if you don't want to be killed. Pay us if you want protection from death. Pay us if you want to be removed from PTA detention orders. This is how political networks have become intertwined with these activities. Some believed these matters would be buried with time, but we will not allow that to happen. It is the responsibility of the state to bring offenders before the law. We will investigate, make arrests, file cases through the Attorney General's Department and ensure punishment through the judicial system. However, there has been a history, hasn't there? A history of people being killed after being taken into custody and a history of ransom being taken to protect individuals from such killings. I do not know whether you will continue to keep such individuals within your parties. I would like to know. There is also a political leader who has spoken 92 times with imprisoned drug traffickers. 92 times. Out of those, 54 calls were made by him and the rest were received by him. This is the political authority we are talking about. I do not know whether you are still maintaining such individuals within your parties. At the very least, have you conducted any disciplinary action within your party? Why is this the case? Because this political authority has contributed to the growth of drug trafficking, narcotics and organized crime. We will completely put an end to the protection provided by political authority to such activities. No one should call this political revenge. Why were we given power? There was a massive public mandate. Within that mandate was a clear expectation to transform the state into a disciplined and responsible system.
අපේ රාජ්‍ය ශිෂ්ට සම්පන්න බවට පරිවර්තනය කරන්න.
What decision will be made regarding the Samagi Janabalawege organizer who accepted a bribe of 120 million rupees to have an organized crime figure remanded instead of being held under detention orders? Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa responded to the matter in Parliament today.
Arrest the drug traffickers. Don't stop there. Those drug dealers and those engaged in that trade should be given punishments similar to those in Singapore. Only then can we take the strongest possible step in eradicating narcotics. We will never provide protection or blessings to those who commit wrongdoing. It does not matter whether it is the government or the opposition. There is no party in politics. We stand against those who engage in wrongdoing. Once these allegations are proven, we oppose giving them lenient punishments and allowing them to continue their operations using taxpayers' money. If there is courage, implement laws similar to Singapore. That is our position. Regardless of who the individual is, we take action. We have demonstrated this clearly to the public. Even today, an attorney has been arrested. Why? Over bribery allegations linked to Nadun Chintaka Vikramaratne, also known as Harakkata, who is associated with organized crime. One individual is a lawyer. The other is SJB organizer Charitabe Singha of Horana. So I would like to ask the opposition leader, you say you are fighting drugs and calling for Singapore-style laws. That implies the death penalty. Are you saying that Charitabe Singha should also face such punishment?
ඒ කියන්නේ චරිත් අබේසිංහවත් එල්ලන්න ඕනයි කියලාද ඔබතුමා කියන්නේ?
අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම විනය පරීක්ෂණය පවත්වනවා. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ගන්න තියෙන
A disciplinary inquiry will definitely be conducted. The strongest possible action will definitely be taken. There is no place in our party for wrongdoers or criminals. We will reach conclusions based on a proper investigation.
නිගමනයට එනවා පරීක්ෂණයක් තුල.
At a media briefing held today by the Samagi Janabalawege, former Member of Parliament Buddhika Pathirana expressed his views on the matter.
We believe that within the legal process, whether it involves a criminal or civil offence, any allegation levelled against a member of any rank within the Samagi Janabalawege must be faced through due process. It is the responsibility of the courts to determine their innocence or, if found guilty, to impose the appropriate punishment. We wish to state clearly that the Samagi Janabalawege will extend its full cooperation to that process. At the same time, we strongly express our disapproval and objection to the manner in which the arrest was carried out, particularly when it involved entering a residence where a 3.5-year-old child was present. We also wish to voice our concern over the police officers involved in that operation when arresting a well-known public figure, an artist and a social media activist who has been critical of the government. A more structured and proper procedure should have been followed. That is our position.
මීට වඩා ක්‍රමවත් සහ විධිමත් ක්‍රමවේදයක් පාවිච්චි කළ යුතුව තියෙනවායි කියන කාරණයයි අපි කියන්නේ.
Concerns over the manner in which Iran Vikramaratne was treated when he accepted a role in cricket administration and the way the Samagi Janabalawege is now responding to allegations against one of its organisers were raised today by former Walikam Urban Council chairman and former SJB organiser Rehan Jaivikrama.
Iran Wickramaratne මහත්තයා cricket board එකේ
Before Iran Wickramaratne accepted the position of chairman of the cricket administration, he formally informed the party by sending a letter expressing his willingness to take up the role. At that time, I believe the first action taken by the party was to send him a letter asking him to step down from the party. When we compare that with what has happened today, I will not disclose the name of the individual at this moment due to ongoing legal proceedings. However, the individual concerned within the SJP had previously been arrested in the United Kingdom and I believe had legal action taken against him, was found guilty by a court there and later returned to Sri Lanka. Yet, this same individual went around strongly criticizing Iran Wickramaratne's decision to take up the cricket board chairmanship, calling it an act against the party and even branding it as betrayal. He also repeatedly targeted another key SJB figure, Dr. Harsha De Silva, through the media on multiple occasions. People like Iran and Harsha are individuals the SJB truly needs. Therefore, apply the same standard used for Iran and Harsha to others as well. If anyone has done something wrong, take immediate action. But the real issue lies in bringing in such individuals while sidelining long-standing members of the party.
මෙවැනි කට්ටිය යොදවගත්ත එකේ තමයි ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ.
Rohitha Rajapaksa, the son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, was questioned for over 5 hours today by the Colombo Central Crimes Investigation Bureau. This was in connection with an ongoing investigation into his sources of income and assets.
Rohitha Rajapaksa, who arrived at the Colombo Central Crimes Investigation Bureau at around 9:45 a.m., left the premises at approximately 3 p.m. today. He had been summoned to provide a statement in relation to an investigation into an investment of 19 million rupees made in 2 institutions in the Midihana area. Police stated that a complaint received by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption indicates that the investments were made between 2018 and 2021. The complaint further raises questions as to how such a significant sum was invested in 2 institutions without a clear source of income. Following the complaint received by the Bribery Commission being referred to the Inspector General of Police, the Colombo Central Crimes Investigation Bureau has commenced investigations into the matter. The Colombo High Court ordered that steps be taken to issue summons to 2 Indian national witnesses in the case filed against parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa over the Krish transaction, in accordance with the procedure for serving summons on foreign witnesses under the Judicial Service Commission circular. The order was issued by Colombo High Court Judge Nadia Parna Suandurugoda after Deputy Solicitor General Vasanta Pereira informed court that the Criminal Investigation Department had been unable to establish contact with the 2 Indian witnesses. The judge also announced that the trial date scheduled for the 7th of July to commence the recording of evidence in the case will be cancelled. However, the case was ordered to be called again on the 7th of July to review progress related to the process of summoning the witnesses. The Attorney General had filed indictments before the Colombo High Court on the 5th of February last year, accusing Namal Rajapaksa of criminal breach of trust over allegations that a sum of 70 million rupees was obtained from India's Krish company, purportedly to promote rugby.
Namal Rajapaksa made the following remarks while presenting several organised appointments at the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna party office.
Today we do not see people-centric politics in this country. What exists is politics driven by hatred, revenge and the need to fulfill the interests of a particular group. The political party in power today views its opponents as enemies. If someone speaks against the government, they are immediately branded as corrupt or as criminals. On one hand, the war heroes of this country are being targeted. The issue now seems to be that intelligence reports were submitted. If those reports had not been submitted, there would have been no problem. Now, the intelligence officers who submitted those reports are being blamed. Meanwhile, officials who suppressed files are being promoted. Lawyers who have appeared for terrorists and extremists are being given promotions and government positions. But the ordinary citizen who provided information about terrorists are being imprisoned. It is clear that the government is attempting to politicize this matter while also creating divisions among the people of this country. According to the current narrative, organized criminals are being turned into witnesses, while lawyers and others are being turned into suspects. This appears to be the direction in which things are heading, and it seems that there is an attempt to expand this repression to that level.
The President emphasized in Parliament that investigations into crimes committed against the people of the country will not be halted under any threat.
The president stated that no one will be allowed to intimidate investigators or disrupt the process, warning that any attempt to stop these investigations through pressure or threats will not be tolerated.
In this effort, the Director of the Criminal Investigation Department, Deputy Inspector General Shania Besekra, is carrying out a major responsibility. Today, he is seen as an enemy by the opposition. The Director General of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, Lanka Dissanayaka, is also performing a significant role. Today, he too is an enemy of the opposition. The Secretary to the Ministry of Public Security, Ravi Senaviratna, is undertaking an important responsibility. Today, he is also considered an enemy by the opposition. Similarly, our Minister Ananda Vijaypala is providing strong leadership in this effort and is now regarded as an enemy. Dilip Piris from the Attorney General's Department is playing a vital role and he too is labelled an enemy. The judiciary itself is playing a crucial role today. Over the past 2 days, I have seen voices being raised against it. Now, the judiciary is also considered an enemy. Why is that? Because there are certain groups in the opposition who cannot tolerate justice, fairness and civility. Fairness is not tolerated. Justice is not tolerated. Democracy is not tolerated. Good governance is not tolerated by the opposition today. If crimes have been committed within the state with state backing, should they not be exposed? Is exposing them an act of betrayal or treason? No, it is an effort to build a civilized state. From the president down to the lowest level of political leadership and from the secretary to the lowest public official, everyone must become part of a civilized state system. But where are we today? We are in an uncivilized state. We have respect and appreciation for our military and intelligence services. When they carry out their duties to protect national security and the people, and if they face any injustice, we will stand by them. We are committed to protecting and honoring them. However, if small groups within these institutions have been used for political purposes to serve a family or a political camp, we will not hesitate to punish those responsible. This must be done to protect the reputation of our armed forces, to build a civilized state and to ensure the safety of our people. Did we not witness such incidents in this country? How was Lasantha Wickrematunge murdered? That was not a civilian dispute. A journalist critical of the government was assassinated. Reports indicate the use of intelligence networks. People were abducted, detained and assaulted, even in locations linked to military facilities. Upali Tennakun was attacked, Poddala Jayantha was attacked, Namal was attacked. I ask you, are these civilian conflicts? No, these were crimes committed using state machinery for political power of a family. The murder of Tajuddin, these attacks on media institutions, there is a history. Behind all these were small groups operating state mechanisms. Shouldn't these be exposed to the country? Wasn't there fear in this country over white vans? Were people not abducted in unmarked vehicles? These are not ordinary conflicts. These are crimes committed by misusing institutions meant to protect the state and its people. We are absolutely committed to enforcing the law against these brutal crimes. We must do this for justice for the victims, for the honor of our armed forces, and for the civility of our state. I do not believe anyone can oppose this. Only criminals, those who benefited from such crimes and those who used these actions to gain power would oppose this. No ordinary citizen who respects democracy, human rights and dignity can oppose these investigations. So remember this, there are attacks being directed at officers like Shania Besekra, Dilip Piris, the Inspector General of Police, the Judiciary and Lanka Dissanayaka. Why? What crime have they committed? Their so-called crime is exposing and investigating crimes committed against the people. They are not wrongdoers. Therefore, if anyone believes that by threatening or intimidating these officers individually they can stop this process, we assure you that we will not allow it under any circumstances. We will stand by these officers. The people of this country must stand with them. Should we stand with criminals? No, we must stand with the people. I invite everyone to take that stand.
News First.
Main sponsor.
2 countries, 2 degrees within 4 years. Call ACBT.
Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now.
A dengue epidemic situation has emerged across 14 districts, according to the National Dengue Control Unit. The total number of dengue cases reported so far this year has reached 49,000. The National Dengue Control Unit stated that 30 deaths have been reported.
The National Dengue Control Unit states that the rapid increase in dengue cases is pushing several major hospitals beyond their capacity.
An epidemic situation is currently present across 14 districts, while other districts are also experiencing continued transmission to some extent. The National Hospital, the IDH Hospital, Ragama Hospital, Colombo Hospital, Homagama, Muratua, Panadura, Kalutara, Matara and other major hospitals are all showing a significant increase in patient numbers.
A large number of patients are also currently receiving treatment at the National Institute of Infectious Diseases, which has been designated for dengue and other infectious diseases.
Patients are currently being treated in ICUs across many hospitals in the country. However, fortunately, we have not observed a significant increase in the death toll so far. Our doctors have a high level of awareness regarding the required treatment. As a result, complications among patients who are admitted on time are relatively rare.
There are 4 dengue virus serotypes present in Sri Lanka, identified as DEN 1, DEN 2, DEN 3 and DEN 4. After several years, the DEN 2 variant is spreading rapidly this year, which has been identified as a major factor behind the sharp increase in cases.
The main concern with the DEN 2 subtype is that if a person who has previously had dengue contracts this variant for a second or third time, the risk of complications is significantly higher. We have seen in the past that when the DEN 2 variant spreads, it tends to spread very rapidly. Immunity developed during a previous infection can react differently when exposed to another dengue virus subtype. As a result, the disease can worsen rapidly, increasing the risk of severe outcomes, including death.
Meanwhile, public health inspectors have been given authority across the island to inspect and identify mosquito breeding sites. The Sirasa FM Dengue Control Campaign, themed Let's Defeat Dengue, covering 1,000 households across 10 cities over 10 days, continued today for its 6th consecutive day.
No further warnings will be issued. If mosquito breeding sites are found in or around your premises, strict legal action will be taken and you may be subjected to court proceedings.
Meanwhile, medical experts are urging the public not to use unverified home remedies for dengue that are widely promoted on social media.
We are seeing complications, particularly liver-related conditions, in patients who resort to such treatments. Additionally, consuming certain liquids can lead to increased vomiting and diarrhea. Since dengue already affects fluid balance in the body, these symptoms can further worsen the condition. Therefore, it is not advisable to use home remedies or treatments claiming to increase platelet counts without proper medical guidance.
Weather first.
The Department of Meteorology says that a temporary increase in rainfall can be expected over the southwestern parts of the island from tonight and is expected to continue over the next few days.
Viara Virakun is ready to bring us the latest. Viara?
Yes, Jawad and Onelka. Now in your latest weather forecast issued by the Department of Meteorology, showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamu, northwestern provinces and in the Gaul, Matara, Kandy and Nuwara districts. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the Uva province and in the Ampara and Batikla districts after 2 p.m. Now fairly strong winds of about 30 to 40 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the western slopes of the Central Hills, northern, north central, northwestern and southern provinces and in Trincomalee district.
Weather first. Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now.
Colombo Plan celebrates its 75th anniversary this year. To mark the pivotal milestone, an inter-university debate competition was held yesterday, bringing together students from universities across Sri Lanka.
The inter-university debate competition organised by the Colombo Plan Secretariat and the University Grants Commission took place in Colombo yesterday to mark the 7th anniversary of the Colombo Plan.
From a transformation, which is what the opposition wants. Now, moving on to my argument, we believe in revival, but we believe that Colombo Plan should focus on one specific sector as opposed to the transformation and diversification.
The event held under the theme Colombo Plan and Human Capital Development, Reviving South-South Cooperation in a Changing Global Landscape, saw the participation of Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Dr. Haruni Amarasuriya, who also serves as the Minister of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Education.
Today we are celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Colombo Plan, and it is a significant and a uniquely significant event that we are celebrating. However, 75 years on, I think it's also time for reflection. All of you, or most of you, are also beneficiaries, recipients of our free education system. And as students coming out of an education system in which we have so much investment, you, all of you especially, have a huge responsibility, have a huge collective responsibility. Your success, what you take away from here and what you put back into society isn't just about you, isn't just about your success and your story. This is the story of our country. You are supported by people, by thousands of people who may never set foot into a university, but they are all invested in you. They are all looking to you, and you carry the hopes of an entire nation. So this is not to frighten you or to pass on a burden, but as students receiving this privilege, and it is a privilege to be able to enjoy a free tuition-free education system, you do have a responsibility, and that responsibility is a responsibility to make sure that what you become and what you do as individuals also has some social purpose, has something bigger than just being about yourself, and that you promote some of these issues, these initiatives that you debated on today.
Congratulations, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura.
The debate team from the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura emerged victorious in the competition, while General Sir John Kopalavala Defence University emerged as runners-up.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for our very own well-deserved runners-up.
Universities of Kelaniya and Colombo also participated in the competition.
The IMF team in Sri Lanka is evaluating the country's ongoing economic reform program and its performance under the existing framework as the country continues its recovery efforts. Julie Kozak, director of the IMF Communications Department, confirmed that the mission is focused on reviewing recent economic developments, including the impact of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East and the resulting surge in global energy prices.
An IMF delegation is already in Sri Lanka for the upcoming review. And Sri Lankan authorities are now claiming that they are paying high prices for energy imports. Is there any plan from the IMF to support Sri Lanka's energy security amidst the ongoing IMF-supported recovery program?
Okay. Just to confirm that we do indeed have a team currently in Sri Lanka. This is a staff visit that will take place during June 24th through 30th. The team is engaging with the authorities on a broad range of stakeholders to take stock of recent economic developments, right, including obviously the impact of the war in the Middle East and the energy price shock. And the team will also be looking at Sri Lanka's economic reform program and the performance under that program. The team plans to communicate its findings at the end of the mission. So I think at that point, Zulfik, that's where you'll get the full picture on how the team has assessed the impact of the energy shock that you referred to.
Now on to your news overseas. Back-to-back earthquakes have killed at least 164 people in Venezuela, with nearly 1,000 injured.
Acting President Delcy Rodriguez says the most affected state is La Guaira, north of Caracas, where dozens of buildings have collapsed. Shalini Ratnavira is ready to tell us more. Shalini?
Yes, thank you, Gerard and Onelka. Now, the United States Geological Survey said that the earthquake last night was strongest to hit Venezuela since 1900. President Donald Trump pledged to deploy U.S. resources to earthquake-stricken Venezuela. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Lando said earlier in the day that the U.S. was in touch with Venezuelan authorities and has been mobilizing assistance for the South American nation. The State Department has already mobilized a disaster assistance team and task force to deliver and coordinate critical assistance to Venezuelans, including search and rescue teams, medical supplies and humanitarian resources.
According to data from the U.S. Geological Survey, one of the earthquakes that struck Venezuela last night was the strongest to occur in the country since 1900s. The first earthquake that struck the country last night was registered with a magnitude of 7.2 by the USGS, with a second quake with 7.5 magnitude striking less than a minute later. The government agency's catalogue of earthquakes states that an earthquake with a magnitude of 7.7 struck near the coast of Venezuela on the 29th of October 1900, known as the San Narciso earthquake. International media has verified video showing the aftermath of the earthquakes in Venezuela, in which a hotel in La Guaira, Venezuela has completely collapsed. The Hotel Edwards on the coast of Venezuela, just north of the capital Caracas, once stood 10 stories tall but has now been reduced to rubble. U.S. Geological Survey suggests there is a 44% chance of more than 10,000 fatalities. The country's main airport has been closed due to damage after footage showed people fleeing through its corridors as the quakes hit. The U.S. has pledged medical and humanitarian support. U.S. President Donald Trump described the quakes as massive in scale, with a devastating number of deaths. Venezuela was celebrating a national holiday on Wednesday, and many people were at home when the quake struck. What caused the earthquakes? Venezuela lies in a seismically active zone where two tectonic plates, the Caribbean and the South American, meet. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the second and larger of the two quakes today occurred as a result of shallow strike-slip faulting near the boundary of these plates. This is when faults or fractures between the plates move horizontally. An earthquake is caused when this movement happens quickly. The pair of quakes today likely indicates a complex rupture interaction process, the organization says. It adds aftershocks, including some potentially with strong shaking, are still possible.
A strong earthquake struck northern Japan today as well. Now, the Japan Meteorological Agency says people in areas that saw the strongest shaking should be alert for similar jolts over the coming week or so.
The Japan Meteorological 7.2 quake occurred off the coast of Iwate Prefecture, revised up from an original 6.9. It also revised the estimated depth of the quake from 50 to 44 kilometers. The hardest hit areas were on the Pacific side of the Emori Prefecture. Hashikami town observed an intensity of upper 6 on the Japanese scale of 0 to 7. The agency says there is a possibility of changes to tidal levels along the coast, but there is unlikely to be any damage. The agency reports Class 2 long-period ground motion was observed in Emori, Hokkaido, Iwate, Miyagi and Akita prefectures. The JMA labels tremors lasting more than 2 seconds that shake high-rise buildings as long-period ground motion and grades them on a 4-class level. They can make it difficult to walk without support. The operator of the Higashidori nuclear power plant in Emori Prefecture says there have been no reports of abnormalities at the facility so far. It says radiation levels around the plant remain unchanged.
Now, shifting your attention towards the developments in the Middle East, the price of oil has fallen to levels not seen since before the Iran war, as traffic through the key Strait of Hormuz shipping route gradually resumes.
Global benchmark Brent crude briefly fell below $72.48 a barrel, the price it was at the day before the US and Israel launched attacks on Iran on the 28th of February, before edging up to $73.23. Energy prices have been on a wild ride since Iran responded to the strikes by effectively closing the strait, a critical waterway for oil and gas shipments. The cost of crude has been moving sharply lower since the US and Iran signed a memorandum of understanding on the 17th of June, which set out a 60-day period for negotiations on Tehran's nuclear program and other measures to end the war.
Sri Lanka cricket's reform process is ongoing.
Viara Virakun joins us with the details again. Viara?
Yes, thank you, Joad and Onelka. Now, Sri Lanka cricket's ongoing reform process has received strong backing from the International Cricket Council, with officials confirming that no deadlines or threats of blacklisting have been imposed, despite widespread speculation. Now, speaking on recent high-level discussions held in Colombo involving the ICC chair, BCCI secretary, President Kumar Dissanayake, and the SLC Transformation Committee, Secretary of the committee Prakash Shafter described the outcome as constructive and encouraging.
Recently, the ICC chair and the BCCI secretary was in Colombo, met the president and had discussions with the transformation committee. What was the real outcome? And there were media reports stating that the ICC has set a deadline and that if the panel doesn't meet the deadline, the country will be blacklisted. Can you elaborate on this?
So we had a very fruitful discussion with the president of the ICC, and we thereafter updated the media via a press release. The press release, I think, contained everything that we need to state, which is that we had cordial discussions. It was very fruitful, and there is a promise of continued support. Just to also answer your final question, I know you're most keen on knowing about deadlines. No timeline was even discussed. We gave our indicative timelines, but there was no there was no pushback on timelines from the ICC. And as far as we are concerned, we are committed to ensuring a speedy process, and we'll get it done in the shortest possible space of time.
In relation to the same, there were reports also that you all have got a letter from the ICC saying somewhere in June 6th to the letter was sent here on June 6th to have the election early and then they have set a deadline there. So is there anything like that?
I must say, I as secretary have not seen any letter, so I don't think there is any letter which has reached us. I mean, it is the accepted fact is that ICC would like to see a return to normalcy and moving away from where we are, but that's something we appreciate, and we are all committed to moving in that direction as fast as possible.
Chairman of the SLC Transformation Committee, Iran Vikramaratne, stated that the process of drafting a new constitution for Sri Lanka cricket has reached its final stages, with plans underway to present it before Parliament in the coming weeks.
We have hired the former legal counsel of the ICC itself to be advisor to us, so that internationally will be benchmarked to the other countries in terms of the constitutional changes. That process has also been done. The people have already been here and they have gone through that. Even the people who send the proposals, the Cricket Transformation Committee has invited them to come and give them an opportunity to come and actually explain their proposals. So, we had an interactive sessions as well, just to get what their ideas are. Now, as you know, everybody doesn't agree on every idea. That's nothing unnatural about that, but consulting is important, being transparent is important. Then the next, from where we are now, we're almost at the end of June, right? Then we have to get into the process of basically Parliament. So the legal draftsman, the Attorney General's department have all to be involved in that process. And then it will go there, and I am hoping that very quickly, hopefully within a couple of weeks even, that we might be able to get there, and by July that this could be actually tabled.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup continues to deliver high-octane action, with 13 teams already securing their places in the Super 32 round of the tournament. Mexico, South Africa, Switzerland, Canada, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Brazil, Morocco, the United States, Germany, France, Norway, Argentina and Colombia have all qualified for the next stage. From today's matches alone, 6 teams booked their slots in the Super 32, further intensifying the race toward World Cup glory. Switzerland pulled off a thrilling performance in Vancouver, defeating hosts Canada 2-1 in a tightly contested game.
As they've
in a hard-fought encounter, sealing their spot in the Super 32. Notably, this marks the first time South Africa has advanced to the second round of the tournament, adding a historic milestone to their campaign.
The way forward, it's fallen once again.
The excitement continues to build as 6 more matches are scheduled to take place tomorrow in the group stage. Those fixtures will feature 2 matches each from groups D, E and F. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is being broadcast live in Sri Lanka through the Maharaja Media Network. Fans can catch all the action live on Sirasa TV and TV1 channels.
And that's a wrap of your news for tonight.
Thank you for watching.